Hello, today is August 22nd, 2015. I'm Jeffrey Tennant. I didn't really have a call for today. It might have been just as well because today was truly a statistical outlier, and we'll see how much of an outlier it was in just a few minutes. We did cross one more MEJT target off the list. There was a price of 1986.08 from February, more than 6 months ago, when that finally printed. Our list of failed targets gets shorter and shorter. We had these two prices near the year's high. The system says that MEJT likes to leave failed targets at major changes in trend. So whether you want to call that a failure or a signal is a point of semantics. We have this cluster of 2 days and 3 targets in a week in October, and those are the only failures going back to April of 2014. As far as yesterday's action, MEJT said the rally was a false move and that prices would return to this price on or after this time, which they did. Well, I didn't have a prediction for Friday. I have one for Monday, but before we get into that, let's look at the long-term picture. This was a chart I showed back in June. We got a sell signal on the monthly chart. That sell signal began forming here in November of 2012, a signal that is 2.5+ years in the making, is a major sell signal, and it wouldn't surprise me if the drop lasted years as well. This is the weekly chart with the 89-week moving average. We have broken under it. The 89-week moving average is a fairly decent indicator of when a change in trend takes place. You can see since we crossed it in 2010, there were only brief intervals under it. So it's a sign of real weakness. As far as the daily chart is concerned, this was a chart I've shown quite a few times. We have 3 of these fan lines break, and when that happens, the bull's over. I had 2 prices. I had this 1986.08 MEJT target since February, and I had the 1972.56 target since November of last year. I said they had to print at some point, and on Friday they did. These are targets, and there is support under the price target, so this is a drop to a support level. There are a number of wildly oversold indicators. Some of them are proprietary of someone else, but let's consider a few of them. Here's VIX. We have a bar completely over the upper Bollinger Band. These are Bollinger Bands on the daily chart for 2015, set at 4 rather than the standard 2 standard deviations from the mean. And you can see at Friday's close, we were right at 4 standard deviations from the mean. Now you might wonder what's the most we've ever varied from the mean. Well, that happened in the 1987 crash. 4 standard deviations, I didn't spell standard right, but it's 4 standard deviations from the mean. So this is as far from the mean as we have been in all of recorded history. When you are this oversold at the end of a long drop, it typically means the end of the drop. When it's at the beginning of a decline, it typically means there is much, much more on the downside to come. However, it doesn't mean we drop in a straight line. When you're this oversold, normally you get a bounce. when you have two of these targets print in the same day, normally you get a bounce. Here's a diamond on stilts. Here's a stilt here. There's a stilt here. This is your diamond. Take the height, set it at 38.2, and the 100% is right at Friday's low. So for all these reasons, hard as it is to pick a bottom and catch a dagger, I think we have a good chance of gapping up Monday. And if we add to that gap, I think we could have an all-day rally. If I'm wrong, I think there are one of two other things which could happen. We could have more capitulation at the open, which is reversed relatively quickly, and we should be then advancing into the start of the second hour, and I still think there'll be a rally Monday. If I'm wrong, the third scenario I think is possible is gapping down and continuing to drop into the second hour of trading. And that's the crash scenario, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have a rally on Monday, most likely starting with a gap up, but that doesn't change the long-term picture that we're in a decline that should last years, and anyone wanting to play a rally should keep that in mind, and that is today's call.